Hi everybody, welcome. Thanks for being here. This video is step 3 in the contact framework. N in contact stands for notice the other person quickly. Think about it. Do you like to be noticed and acknowledged? Of course. Noticing the other person honors one of the most important rules of communication. You've heard it a few times already. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. This module is about how to authentically notice the other person so that you can understand them. In this video, I'll talk about how you're actually selling yourself in any conversation. And I'll give you the basic rules for doing that effectively. I'll also share a couple of don't do's. Okay, here we go. As I said in Open Up, Sure, and Wise, it's best to quickly state a couple parts of your interaction process and then ask about the other person right away. You might say something like, I saw you come in again late this morning. I'm concerned. What happened? Instead of, where the hell were you this morning? Okay, so this is a good time to share today's first don't do. Avoid starting your interaction with a question, especially when the conversation is important. Before you ask another person what's going on for them, tell them what's going on for you and why you want to know what's going on for them. For example, I would be triggered into defensiveness if someone said to me, why did you file that wrong? It's better said, I noticed the ABC file in the wrong place. Is there a reason for this? I thought it belongs here. I want to get it right. Notice I shared my sense, my thought, my intention, and a discovery question. 4 quick, short sentences to open the conversation. When we share our perspectives before asking about what's going on for another person, we appear more authentic and transparent in the inquiry. We are disclosing before asking another person to disclose first. And it's a good idea, especially when the situation is sensitive. Another example. I'm thinking it's best to build this wall using wood instead of steel. What way do you think is best and why? Now, there are times we want to withhold part of our process, like when we want to see if the other person knows how to do something. Even then, it's still important to state your intention. It shows authenticity. So instead of saying something like, how are you going to build that wall? It's more authentic to say, I know how I would build that wall, and I was wondering what process you would follow. I want to hear your process before I share how I would do it, because I'm testing your knowledge. Now, there are times you could withhold the second part of that last statement. You've got to feel out each situation and each person. Bottom line is, the question-only method of opening conversations can trigger feelings of mistrust and defensive behavior because he or she can think there's an ulterior motive behind the question or that they're not trusted. The disclosure first, then question method is more transparent communication, and transparency speeds up conflict resolution. Share enough of your process so that the other person understands why you want to know about them. So what do we want to know about the other person? What questions do we ask to notice them? Actually, I've already told you in the other modules. This section simply underlines how important this notice part of contact is. Throughout the conversation, we ask them the first 4 questions that we asked ourselves in the awareness part of this process. We ask about their hip, and then we watch and listen to how they respond. I'm wondering what you just heard me say. What do you think about what I said? How do you feel about it? What do you want to happen here? Now, we rarely ask all those 4 questions at once. Usually, the conversation goes back and forth, and by the end, a good communicator knows the other person's whole process. So why is it so important to know what's going on for the other person? Besides the obvious, consider this. We are all salespeople. In every interaction with another person in our life, we are selling in some way. In many cases, it may be a very small sell. It's still selling. And why do I say that? Because in our intention, which is part of our interaction process that happens whether we're aware of it or not, we are in fact selling the other person on an idea of doing something in hopes that they will act accordingly, and we get what we want. It's in the intention and action part of our process that we are selling. Our intention is to influence or sell the other person on the idea to do what we want them to do so we get our resolution or solution. Okay, so we're salespeople. Here's a quick selling lesson. Now, I made over 30,000 sales calls early in my career. I got good at it. And I love what Brian Tracy, a master sales trainer, says. He says, when we shine a light on the prospect, we sell more than when we shine a light on ourselves or our product. When we're noticing the other person and seeking to understand them, we're shining the light on them. And when we do that, they feel like we care, like they matter to us. As a result, they're more open to ideas and influence. So bottom line, we're better communicators and salespeople when we notice the other person quickly in an interaction. Now, there are other steps to being a good communicator and salesperson. This is one of the first. Are you more open to being influenced by someone who knows and understands you, or by someone who doesn't get you? Have you been in a situation where a salesperson doesn't let you get a word in edgewise and rattles on about how good the product is or how good he or she is? How does that make you feel? Or what kind of thoughts come to you? Good salespeople and good communicators are all good at the discovery part of an interaction. They're not just good talkers. In fact, they're great questioners, and they listen more than they talk. They both find out about you before they start making suggestions. So seek to understand before being understood and trying to influence. Another example. A worker forgets to call a customer back in a timely fashion to solve their issue, and so the company receives a complaint. Here's how I would start the corrective conversation. Hey Charlie, I received a phone call from a customer. He complained that you never called him back when you said you would to resolve his issue. When I heard it, I got concerned and told the customer I would look into it and we would get the issue resolved. So what's your side of the story? Where are we at? Or would you rather hear, why the hell didn't you call Fred back? Both are questioning processes, but one is effective and one is defensive. Notice that in the first option, I shared 3 parts of my hip, then I asked questions. Also note, I'm selling Charlie on 2 ideas. 1, to open up and share his story, and 2, to get him to help me get the issue resolved. So, simply put, Noticing the other person is about getting their side of the story, finding out about what they heard and saw, felt, thought, and wanted, and how they actually acted from their perspectives. With a full understanding of any situation, we can respond more appropriately in an attempt to influence others and get them to respond positively to our intention. Have you ever said something you wish you hadn't after you heard the whole story or got some new information? Most of us have. I want you to prevent that. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Okay, so here's another don't do to keep in mind. Sometimes people don't want to share their feelings or their thoughts or their intentions at first. Don't push too hard. Be patient. Have you ever had someone ask you what you're thinking or what you're feeling or what you want and not really want to share? I think we've all had those moments. Do you like to feel pushed? I don't. So if you run into someone who's resistant to sharing their thoughts or feelings, explore other parts of their hip. Ask about what they heard or saw or about what they want. When someone doesn't want to share intentions, explore thoughts and feelings first. Or you might share a little bit more about you and your perspectives in relation to the issue at hand. That might make them feel like opening up a little bit more. Then you can go back to asking about them. Bottom line, massage the situation until you uncover at least 3 or 4 parts of the person's interaction process. With that, we usually have enough information to navigate to common ground and common intention. Sometimes not. So if the conversation is important and you don't have all the information, postpone the meeting. Give him or her time to think and process. But make sure you come back to the issue as quickly as you can, like the next day. If you can't postpone though, you'll have to get creative and strategic on how to navigate the meeting. And as you learn this entire contact process, we'll uncover more tools and tips for navigating those resistant people in tough conversations so that you can be creative and strategic. Okay, so let's recap today's lesson. 1, don't start your interaction with a question. Be transparent. Tell them quickly about you. Share a couple parts of your hip. Then ask about them. And remember to tell people when you ask about them why you're asking. 2, remember that you're a salesperson in any interaction. And the best salespeople are the best questioners and listeners. So ask good inquiry questions and listen more than you talk. 3, don't push people too hard. Be patient. It may take some sensitive navigating to find out what's going on for them. If you have to, take time to share more of your perspectives and then ask them about them again. Throughout the conversation, we ask them the first 4 questions that we asked ourselves in the awareness part of this process. We ask about their hip, and then we watch and listen to how they respond. I'm wondering what you just heard me say. What do you think about what I said? How do you feel about it? What do you want to happen here? So your practice exercise for this section is to practice noticing others. Ask about other people. Try talking very little. Become a good questioner. The more you do it, the better you get at it, and the better you get at reading people. Hey, good job! Another section completed. Thanks for watching. Go make it an awesome day. See you next time. Like this video if you like it. Bye for now.